Good morning, everyone. Russell Wright, Network Empire, Automatic PinVid Broadcasting. And let's just go ahead and do some roll call, make sure you guys can hear me. Can I please have a 1 if you can hear me, and a 2 if you cannot hear me? And if I don't see any 2s, I'll assume that you can't hear me. That was a really bad joke. Hello, Mike Hayden. Kevin Polly is with us as well. Tim, Carol. I was able to sit beside Jimmy while you were talking to him yesterday on your console. Sounded like good things were going on. Mr. Steve Melton, 2-year certified advisor veteran with us as well. Can everybody please let me know if you can see my screen? You should see the brain placeholder. Should be set to automatic video traffic. Okay. So I'm going to try to do an experiment. I'm going to try to stay faithful to this experiment. Jimmy has left the room. I'm actually at the mansion here, Sue Bell's place. We have all kind of landed here for a 3 or 4 day period to get evil, and it has been interesting, to say the least. I have gotten to see things that you can't unsee about SEO, and I thought I knew a lot. Okay, so here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to stay true to this commitment. I'm actually going to try to keep rolling these Wednesday webinars. I'm not sure if it will be every Wednesday, but I want to try to really keep you up to speed, because probably one of the more fluctuating and aggressively changing and enhanced courses that we have is the automatic video traffic and engagement rank. The more that I learn, the more that you learn. And the more that we all, remember, nobody knows as much as all of us. And so I wanted the perpetual mastermind model that I created to be something that allows, it's not limited to mastermind, it also gives you the added benefit of the serious minds that we have in-house. And then also allows you to collaborate. I learn stuff from students all the time. I don't want to make the presumption of authority. There's always somebody who discovers something collaboratively. So that's really what I'm trying to do. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm actually going to try to, over the next few weeks, to see, even if we have 30 minutes or so, or 45 minutes to talk about something that wasn't covered well, I'm going to do that. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go over an important factor. I'm going to suggest that you guys, unless you seriously know what you're doing, is to not reuse domains, like in a PBN model, and to not use SEO hosting services other than Kevin's. I have new evidence of that this morning. We'll get into it in the next couple of weeks. I can't address it until we've done more testing. Okay, so we'll get into that. But here's the main thing. We've talked about how you should purchase. What I'm going to cover in today's hotspot and tip is how you can purchase a domain. I'm going to give you kind of an interesting and secret tidbit, only revealed just for you guys. And that's all that I'm going to cover today, and then I'm going to start holding you guys accountable for some of the things that thank you, Sue. Sue has just come through the door and handed me a double espresso, and I'm grateful to it, because our coffee person is not here today. You know who that coffee person normally is? Kevin's like, where's mine? It's not Kevin Polly when he's here. Kevin's like me. Actually, I do miss your coffee, Kevin. You're exceptionally. It's a British thing. It's a British thing. Somehow your coffee tastes better. Usually it's me. This morning we had to make coffee in order to get coffee. Yesterday was my birthday, so everybody decided to, I don't know, do something with that. And whatever. Yeah, I know, right? Mike Hayden's like, shock horror, I know, right? 44, folks. Officially looking at no longer the fledgling entrepreneur, thanks to my team. Steve, but Steve, you can't count. You're the wise chief. Okay, so the topic, since I don't have a huge amount prepared for you today, let me talk to you about you guys before we get into this domain thing, okay? How many of you have started a domain? Give me a 1 if you started it, 2 if you have not. And it's okay, don't be shy. Make sure I'm recording this. Yeah, I am. Excellent. Did anybody complete the entire process map? Not yet. Okay, Stephen, good job. That's great. Yeah, I strongly recommend that. Andy was saying he hasn't got Social Explosion set up yet. As you know, that's a whole other project of ongoing development we have. It's getting better and better and better. I'm really excited about it. I do recommend that you have social signals to these sites, and not necessarily saying that you have to have Social Explosion, although Jimmy would argue otherwise based on testing. I'm just saying that no matter what, get some signals going to that. And I'm really glad to, we have a few over here are 90% done. That's great. Now I just want to make sure here, give me a 1 if you're no following the links to your money site, and 2 if you forgot about that. Okay. Well, I don't know, Andy, if they're human visitors or not. Probably not. They might register as that. Good. So, Carol, what was that ouch? Was that ouch that you are, you did not do no follows, or you forgot, or you did do no follows? Okay. When you guys get to a point where you've finished your sites, can you please drop them to me privately in the HIP chat room or in Skype? I'll respond at my convenience, just so we have some accountability, because this is not a one-on-one coaching course, because we have far too many people starting to sign up for this to do one-on-one. Okay, yeah, Carol, make sure that everything is no follow at this point. We have confirmed that on several occasions, yeah. Okay, very cool. So it's okay, whatever you chose for your domain in the future, you probably remember that the domain that I purchased for myself when I started working with Kevin on the hosting shops hosting was Stock Trading Factor Fiction. You guys remember that? I'm still working on that. But I wanted to address, oh my goodness, Kevin, naughty boy. He started publishing videos for me. I can just sit back and Kevin do all of it for me. No, he was doing a test. You can't ask Kevin to build your sites for you yet, okay? That would be a lot more expensive, by the way. Here's the things that, although it would be semantically marked up. Wait a second, Kevin, I have a really good idea. Just kidding. It would be perfect. You see the domain Stock Trading Factor Fiction? I'm going to give you guys the huge takeaway as to why Kevin's like, I'm game. Huge takeaway. And this I would ask you guys to be keeping to yourself. I really do value the tight-lipped community that we have, and it's actually becoming more and more important as we move on. I don't think anybody's ever tried an educational model like we are, where everything is stacked in this ascending order of difficulty, providing, allowing you to kind of like carry the ring, the burden of the ring when you reach the top, and be able to understand with great power comes great responsibility, the Spider-Man cliche, which is actually totally true in this game, especially after what I saw last night and the night before with Sue and Jimmy. It's like crazy stuff. Like stuff that I saw that, the showman in me that would like to share everything with the world about what we do or create the next great, the next best thing. And like just endless content that I could seduce the world into learning our stuff. But it's so powerful that we can't market it to the public. And it's kind of a weird position because I've never been in this position quite before. I mean, we've always had stuff, but we haven't had stuff like, when Jimmy and Sue get together, I'm seeing stuff that is, quite honestly, above my head and forces me to, just trying to be intimate with you guys and explain what I really mean. It forces me to look at what it means to have no brand. In other words, we move with the knowledge and insight that you'll be able to glean if you stay with this course, with this education. You move forward even above and beyond Traffic Hospital. Like all the skills that you guys have learned in Traffic Hospital, Jimmy has taught me, come from his constant testing and his constant R&D of destroying things to determine what the limits are. So when you're looking at the hospital stuff, you're actually getting experience that comes from learning how it all works together. Like destroy something to see what's broken and then make a better mousetrap. And although I've done stuff at that level, when Sue and Jimmy start doing this kind of stuff, it puts it in a position to be able to learn in a whole new way. You add Kevin's semantic web and where the web is going with that, and all of Sue and his material on that, and you have, you know, the next 10 years pretty much sustainable for what you're doing. So that also applies to the PinVid. So here's the big tip of the week, okay, you guys, gals? Fact or fiction? What I'm trying to do slowly is acclimate you slowly into something called instant search traffic. Anybody of you know what instant search traffic is? You know, when you go to Google and you, let me see if I go incognito. Instant search traffic is when you go, I'm not logged in anywhere. I'm going to type in like a disease site I did for a client. Again, please guys, I'm putting you in the greatest inner circle of trust. Any sites or domains that I show you, it's for us. I ask you that you keep it in our tight community circle of trust. Any of the things, and there's hundreds of things like I'm about to show you that that I incorporated a PinVid that I don't always necessarily show every student, okay, to the public and the rest. But instant search is pretty simple, right? So if you type in a disease like cancer, you can see how the stuff drops down like that. Carol, can you see that on the upper left-hand screen? You're always the first to tell me if you guys can see. Okay. Yeah, let me show you something for Mike Hayden. I don't know if it'll happen in the US, SEO, Perth. Okay, you guys see Mike Hayden on the drop-down? Because he's a very naughty boy. Okay, he knows how to create. He's going to get traffic off of that. People are going to go, WTF. Boom. Okay, and then he will get traffic off that term. You guys understand? Okay, that's a trick that Mike knows how to do. He's so handsome. LinkedIn, just kidding. Okay, so that's what I wanted you guys to see. Is like instant search is a whole other topic, and it's something that Jimmy and I have started playing with a little bit. I mean, he knows a lot about it. We have a really close, dear friend of ours here, right in Phoenix, who is the main guy in all the. You see those products out there, the instant search traffic products. He's a good friend of Sue and mine. So this is the kind of stuff that we've been playing with. But for the PinVid stuff, I just wanted to show. If you look, there's ways for you to start engaging in that, and I think we will be able to provide you guys with more information about how to effectively do that, because it's a variety of different factors. But what I like to do is I like to name my domain something that's going to make it easy to do that. And part of the reason I do fact or fiction sites, anything you can do with any kind of auto sites that gives a sense of a reference site. Do you guys know what I mean by a reference site? Like fact or fiction implies that there's a subtle nuance or a reference of a research site. Okay, it's slightly there, and you got to give all the help you can. So if you take something like, here's one of the disease sites for a client. Okay, if they're looking for go back to, if they're looking for Morgellons facts, do you see that? Can you guys see how as I begin to type in Morgellons facts, then fact or fiction comes up? Give me a 1 if you can see that. Kind of like the Mike Hayden thing. Okay, well, if they roll down, they're like, oh, fact or fiction. There's a couple of things going on here, you guys. It's a little bit trickier than Mike Hayden's snazzy trick that he did with himself. Fact or fiction is a cognitive dissonance phrase. Okay, does anybody know it? If you look up cognitive dissonance theme zoom, I've got a very, very clear definition of what cognitive dissonance is. Then I tie it into all the other Russell Wright crazy weird stuff that you guys have probably seen online. It's all neuroscience and neuromarketing, because I'm a weird guy and I write weird stuff. But it's applicable. I apply it. So what I'm really saying here is Morgellons fact or fiction. It creates a question in the brain. Remember I say open loops? So I get tons of clicks. I get plenty of clicks on Morgellons fact or fiction through the instant search. Okay, but there's the site, PinVid. Okay, horrible, ugly, scary site, tons of traffic, tons of addicted traffic, thousands upon thousands of pages. A reference site, original domain purchased by me, traffic developing, only increasing. A little bit slow on the load because we're changing CDNs. Do you guys get that trick? Give me a 1 if all that made sense. Okay. Now, please don't limit it to fact or fiction. I'm completely fine if you guys steal that idea, because there's a variety of other kind of cognitive dissonance. You know, I want to tell you guys where I got that. I got that from the Netflix show Facts or Myths or Mythbusters. Okay, you guys ever see that show, Mythbusters? Fact or Faked? You guys remember that? Fact or Faked? When I started watching, first of all, I read an article about Fact or Faked that during the intermission retention rate for people on the intermission of Fact or Faked because of the interesting but incomplete was through the roof compared to other shows online. Carol has never seen it. Fact or Faked is a really kind of terrible show on the Sci-Fi Channel where they take video footage from like YouTube memes, or somebody's mailed in their shot of Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster or the haunting or whatever, really compelling footage. They hired an FBI agent, a photography expert, and a bunch of debunkers to come in and look at the footage or look at the event or try to recreate the event. And then they leave it at the intermission with, okay, here's what it is. We're going to recreate this event. We're going to go to this place. Is it fact or is it faked, right? And the viewer audience is like hanging on the edge of their seat, and all of a sudden they go to the commercial break. They're about to tell you whether it's BS or not. Now, it's not interesting for everybody, but for a certain genre or generation of people, they find that very interesting. And the fact that again, that's my whole interesting but incomplete model, okay? That's just one of many, many things that you guys will hear me say about interesting but incomplete. And if you go to interestingbutincomplete.com, you'll see that I talk about those. That's an intrigue-based cliffhanger, okay? Intrigue-based cliffhanger. Now, does your knowledge of neuromarketing go as deep as the purchasing of a domain? Absolutely. You guys just watched how I did it, okay? So Mike Hayden, SEO Perth, Mike Hayden, although it's a nice thing, it's not. Most people don't go into neurocognitive dissonance when they see Mike Hayden's name. I do. I mean, he just blows my mind. Like, oh, Mike Hayden, ah. Just teasing you, Mike. However, because it's not intrinsic, it's just a name, people will think, okay, if he has a big brand or if he's famous in the internet marketing community or again, if he's a personal brand name, that would be the dissonance there. That would be interesting but incomplete. Also, they might be curious because if they're an SEO in Perth, it's still don't get me wrong, it's a very, very good thing to do. You could do things like SEO tips and tricks. See that? If you go down there, do you guys see tips and tricks? Can you imagine how cool it would be if you were SEOtipsandtricks.com? Although well, actually it would. The exact match really does help in the domain as long as you don't over-optimize and you find all those tricks that Jimmy teaches you. And it's funny, there is no SEO tips and tricks, and then you don't want to over-optimize for it. But whoever is optimized for that, that's a pretty good thing. A lot of people are not looking at the instant search, so just please consider that, and then we'll go deeper into when you have that domain, okay, and you have a fact or fiction, you can use fact or faked. You could, what I'd like you guys to do collaboratively with me is come up with a variety of different things, a variety of different drop-down concepts that create that contrast. You guys know what I mean by contrast? Tips and tricks is not as good as true or false. Remember that website, Hot or Not? Do you guys remember Hot or Not? It's such a funny site. It was out, and I'm not even going to go there now because it's got a little risque. Hot topics. Ooh, hot. It's kind of gone now, but it's not in the SEO industry. So anything that creates contrast, where you can go fact or fiction, fact or faked. Okay, you can see that's actually tied to the season. All right. So if you can come up with a topic that's already used culturally to determine. Mike is saying too many hours of wasted site. Oh, Mike was a hot or not surfer. Good for you. I did that for like 20 minutes and then I just went insane and just couldn't come back. It was like crazy. Joseph's like SEO trick or treat. That's funny. So the main thing I want you to walk away with is an understanding of how these types of things that we're looking at can be used for your domaining, and come up with some other topics if you guys wouldn't, I want this to be collaborative, and people who contribute, if you have any things that like factor fiction or factor faked or things like that, that makes sense. What you're doing is you're actually taking the interesting but incomplete model all the way up to the domain level. You can go to interestingbutincomplete.com and take a look. This, by the way, is a certification level chart. It's an oldie but goodie. It's not that old. Okay, so what we were dealing right here is the intrigue part. Okay, but it's also informative. I want to combine intrigue with a fact-based site, and then when you start including the columns rather than only having the categories, the silos. This will be even more important when we come up with the video Kraken domination version. We really want to make sure that you have a reference-based insight. So your site, once you have your framework for your keyword DNA, go ahead and put things in that are research related. And we're going to talk a little about that. In fact, I was going to wait to do this till next week. Please don't look at the SEO. This is a prototype site. I actually created it to blow it up, but it hasn't blown up yet. It generates a ridiculous amount of traffic. 100% prototype, not even semantically marked up. Kevin just cringes when he looks at it. However, I'm going to go and bring your attention to the menu bar that works really, really well. Okay, you can see that on the menu bar, because I'm doing the fact or fiction concept, yeah, sure, I do the memes, the forbidden cures, and all these different things, but one of the MDs who is an anti-cancer doctor has a whole lot of videos on YouTube because he was a really weird case study. Okay. And yeah, and just keep in mind, guys, that I am going to go ahead and just be transparent with you. Kevin has helped me evolve through the process from crappy, non-semantically marked up sites, which still, by the way, generate lots of traffic. Imagine what would happen if I actually had the theme mark up, when we convert these over and the rest. Okay, so I'm showing you guys early prototypes because we're still in the prototyping phase, which is why we're a perpetual mastermind. But you can see that, with these different kinds of cancers that I'm covering on here, I even have the name. One of the techniques I'm going to get into a little bit more next week is the name of the author. If you go into YouTube and you have a really important topic under a major topic, this is actually the name of the book. And there was so many videos that actually had the name of the book included because he was such an inspiration to so many people suffering from cancer because he lasted so long as a doctor, an oncologist who himself got cancer and couldn't deal with it. And he was like, dang, it's a wonder I helped anyone. I can't even help myself, right? So he had this really huge video following, and then so I actually pulled his book stuff in. Okay, so that actually kind of creates that's his talk, and this page gets hit pretty decently. All right. So I just wanted to show you that. And on this page, I actually created some wiki links and a few other things, and this is an advanced technique I will show you guys later once it's approved 100% for sharing with you guys. Some things have changed since I created this page, so don't emulate this page, okay? I was using a cloaking. You can see that this is actually I'm hoarding link juice on this page and not just bleeding every single link. All right, so that's a different topic. So that's really what I wanted to show you as to why you want to name a domain like that, and that's the tip of the week. Okay, so that's another way to use interesting but incomplete in the domain level. If you guys would come up with I don't care if you copy that method. I used to be protective of it until I realized that there's 999 billion factor fiction sites you can make. And I've got several alternatives to factor fiction now. You just want it so when they drop that drop-down menu that they can see it in instant search. Now, to get it into instant search is a different topic, and I know what some of you are thinking. How do I get it to appear in instant search? Well, there's a few different ways that happens, and we're not going to talk about that today, because I want to make sure that the information that I provide you on that is current. And I know Mike knows a whole lot about it. I might actually have Mike Hayden talk a little bit about that as well. And Jimmy's got some conversations about that. I'm just not going to cover that today. Just wanted to make sure that when you buy a domain, if you bought a domain like this already with the hosting shop, if you bought a domain and you didn't include the factor fiction or factor faked or truth or dare or hot or not, whatever it is that you're doing. Contrast site. No, Carol is asking, do you need to just do contrast word to get something that does appear in instant search? No. Here's the interesting thing. The reason that the word fact is kind of interesting is that the search engine itself is something that people are looking for to find facts. And what you actually do is find, I still haven't tested how easy this is going to be with the semantic markup. I was just playing around this morning with Kevin on the video markup on our new plugin. I'm really, really excited. And Mike Hayden was alpha testing for us, and I'm just so excited. I'm all over the map. The video markup will be very important. The word fact is just something commonly, facts about. And because because facts are a cultural word that's typed in, by having the word fact tied to it, you're going to tend to have more type-in traffic around that topic. And if it's in your domain and you're well ranked for it and your inbound links, it is an inbound linked issue as well. You have to have content and you have to have, you have to be targeting that topic. Well, if it's in your domain, you're kind of already targeting it already. So I'll give you more information on that. And I'm actually looking towards the live event to have more specific instant search information for you guys to make that easier. Okay, I'm not going to give you a big course on instant search today because there's been a shift in the winds. And there's a little bit of a different approach you need to take with your link building, but we'll talk about that more when I'm cleared to talk about it. Okay? Excellent. That's all that I have for you guys today. And so I would like to follow up with any questions that you guys have about what you've done so far. You all know that I'm looking to see your completed projects. I will not share those with anybody. I'm not auditing you or anything like that. I just want to make sure that you've got. Andy has asked how many. I gave you a tip about automatic traffic to get some pinging happening on the site. Keep it low, Andy. Make sure that if you're using 24/7 auto hits, be really gentle on it. You give yourself 5 or 10 an hour on that. The reason I like that service is you can really, really throttle it down. Okay, just really, really throttle it down. Just get the rotators happening. And you don't have to, you can buy the small package where you have a few hundred per month if you don't have any money. And again, you don't even really have to do that. Kevin's server is set up and all of your installs are set up. So he's got some special additions that make sure that our Video Kraken plugin is working automatically and is not overly dependent upon the WordPress cron job. And the next version will be greatly enhanced. But Kevin's hosting service has a lot of additional features, things that I had to deal with that you do not have to deal with. Okay, Kevin is wanting me to add that when those of you who have hosting on the hosting shop, our infinitely scalable PinVid service, just hit the help desk and ask for some speed magic. This is something that Kevin and I have been looking at quite a bit as to how to present you with some greater speed so that you don't have to get into the issue of, I really don't want you guys to have to worry about the complexity of CDN and his hosting at this moment. You don't have to, and I doubt you ever will because Kevin's just like that. He's going to make it 10 times better than anything that I would be showing you how to do manually. Okay. Yeah, and he's saying, I want to point that out because I have some screenshots of Kevin's speed test for everything on the hosting shop. Andy is saying it's really, really fast. It is. I mean, compared to anything out there, it's like really, really fast. Okay. Any other questions that you guys have? Because I'm gonna actually, the original certification level 3 course was designed to be 2 webinars. I'm gonna actually try a little bit of an experiment as I bring you guys into the fold. This is the only PinVid course that we've had so far, and I'm not sure where Sue is going to reschedule the next one. We have so much development happening that I am really excited for you guys and gals that you're here because the development is rapid at this point. And I'm actually a little bit in over my head. I've got Kevin on the hosting side telling me what's what because, as he well should, I've got Sue enhancing and creating enhancements begin. So we've got all this stuff happening. Andy is asking me about fiber gigs, and followers on Fiverr. And I wanted to talk to you guys about that. If I give you a specific gig and I haven't tested it, or it doesn't do well for me, or it disappears next week, I'm liable. So what I'd like to do is ask you guys, I would prefer not to have to do that, but instead I would prefer that you guys just go to Fiverr and sort by quality, sort by, what do they call it, recommendation. You can sort your gigs by the number of people that like them. Now that can also be gamed, but look at the reviews for authentic reviews and the rest. And I got to tell you that honestly, all those Twitter followers are fake anyways. Look at them for actual. You don't want eggs. Try to get non-eggs, and a lot of the times they'll clarify inside Fiverr. I could do a whole course just on how to not get screwed on Fiverr, and so that's I can definitely do that, and that's not part of the tips and tricks for today. Oh, Carol asked me, get non-what? So clearly non-eggs. Eggs are Twitter followers that just have an egg. When you sign up for Twitter and you don't put your image up, there's just this egg sitting there, Carol. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, get one with images. There's all kinds of them that are called fully profiled Twitter accounts. Okay. Yeah, and Mike Hayden says, good Fiverr gigs, fact or fiction. The problem is that Fiverr is kind of nasty with their, I actually got a warning from them about a domain with their name in it, Mike, so you might want to avoid that. I think it would be fair use, but geez, they're kind of, I have a Fiverr domain and they weren't too happy about it. They were worse than the For Dummies empire, and they just sued you for anything for dummies. So just be cautious with that, Mike. I know you were joking, but hey, it's not a bad idea. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, you guys, is go for the gigs that are high priority, that are, let me just see if I can, I hate opening my Fiverr account in public. Let me see if I can find something that doesn't look, because you guys would not believe the stuff that I try. It's like I play around with it. Let me see. I won't log in. I don't think I have to log in. Find services. Yeah, so I'm not even logged in. So if you go here, there's all these different things, and many of them are really bad. So you can go like this. Keep in mind that you're doing this only to get a little bump. You're not ultimately going to, you don't want to do so many that, just go to followers. There's Google Plus followers as well. You don't want to overdo that. And you really want to look at how sometimes they even tell you how. Here you go. One, you can go see where it says high rated versus recommended versus new. High ratings. Okay, these are recommended. So you got to look and see if they've been gamed or not. But generally speaking, if you're keeping your number of followers low, you're not going to get your account bound. And try to put some tweets in there, and maybe even a retweet or two. So when you set up your accounts, I don't know if I showed you guys this, but just go ahead and tweet and retweet. Get some little action in there. Just think about like how, if you were writing an algorithm from Twitter that was designed to make sure that fake accounts were not, just think about it. Accounts that just sat there that were just set up and had nothing to do they never followed anything, they never retweeted anything, they only posted. That would be the algorithm that you would set up to suspicious, right? So think about it like that. Just look at these. Make sure that your accounts have a little soft touch here and there. The images are there. I taught you how to upload the images and so on and so forth. You can hit them just a few. You don't want that to be the primary. You just want to get the Twitter edge up there a little bit. So I look at this. I probably go here and I'll see. Okay, here's some of the reviews. All fake accounts. He didn't like that. Clearly, his expectations were not managed well. This is Fiverr dude. So you just start looking this. So, you're looking for the best that you can find. Yeah, Andy, that's exactly right. You got to start thinking about it. That would be one way you could do it. And they're actually pretty lenient. Twitter is not in the habit of, they're fairly robust. They give you quite a bit of leeway. Not as much as they used to, but. Here's another one. This Google Plus followers. Okay. Yeah, so just look around at some of those gigs like. Does that make sense, you guys, if you got a general understanding? Just remember, guys, this is crap. I'm not telling you that it's not. Just keep it low, flying under the radar, just get things rolling a little bit. And what will happen is you'll start to get people following you just from a little kickstart. This is true on Facebook as well. Get your Facebook edge rank up and your engagement rate up a little bit. Okay, so there's 2 tips that we had today, one of them unexpected. Okay, same with Facebook followers. Make sure that those followers, you can just look up followers on there, look for high ratings, try to get ratings where the reviews are, wow, this is above average, or even slightly above average on Facebook, you know. Carol's asking me, what do I define as low? For followers or for Twitter? A few hundred pages. One time I purchased 100,000 followers on Twitter. The account had, it already had a domain authority, a pretty high domain authority. Also, you guys should know that, you're aware that that your Twitter page has page authority, right? Everybody aware of that? Okay. So, you know, although I don't want you to be overly fixated on SEO right away out of the gate on this, I want you to be aware of where everything is really going. That's why it's so important for you to be keeping in mind that the background purpose of all this is to be aware that you have some inbound link juice from these sites, okay? As you begin to develop, you can see my Twitter account has a page authority of 48, and you can see that, remember that anything that comes off your Twitter page is a t.co. Can you guys see that at the bottom? Twitter automatically turns any link within their empire into a t.co link shortener. You guys know that? Give me a 1 if you knew that already. I know some of you naughty boys out there already know what's going on. Okay. And I'll just leave that out there, that if you think clearly, if you've taken Jimmy's domain authority stacking course, so on and so forth, you know, you guys can read between the lines. There's things that you can do. And that's why we have multiple courses. Because that's not I'll let Jimmy and Sue teach you guys that stuff. We get into this a lot more at certification. Also keep in mind, you guys, that Social Explosion uses nothing but link shorteners and not just t.co, hint, hint. Google Plus link shorteners, Twitter link shorteners, Bitly link shorteners. And what kind of redirects are they, you guys? Yes, 301. Thank you, Mike. We're not going to get too much deep into this, but it's really exciting what Social Explosion does. And if you haven't, you know, jumped around the room screaming with excitement yet about Social Explosion, you will soon once the other shoe drops. It's a good, very cool thing and getting better and better every day. I'm very excited about it. Okay. So anyway, the point here is part of the reason I have you guys fill your profiles out is as you get engagement and as you start to fill up with tweets, you'll start to see some page authority and domain authority, and you know, and you'll get some of those social profiles back to those PinVid sites. That's one of the many benefits. Okay. All right. Good. Any other questions for Kevin or myself while we're here? That's all that I have today. I want to keep these tips of the week or bi-weekly tips. We haven't decided yet for sure. That's enough. I think I've given you guys a huge boon. I have never shared my instant search reason for picking these domains with anybody publicly other than in our own team. So you guys should feel special. So I would also like to ask you to keep it to yourself, and also do know that I do have a planned discussion for the instant search stuff. Maybe we can get Mike Hayden to have a conversation about it. Maybe we can get Sue and Jimmy to talk about it, or myself. We'll get into it over the next. I've just got to determine how that makes sense and at what point I get into that. It may not even make sense for this particular course, but I can't leave it out completely because it's definitely part of the domain name selection process for me. Okay. So also think about adding valuable sidebar material on your sidebar. Okay, like I could do, what could I do? Let's go through some sidebar thing. Investment, strategy, disasters, right? at that point, success, you could do disasters, hot or not, these types of things. Come in with information-based. One of the words I like is myths, investment myths. People click that because it's a hot button, right? This is everything you guys should have already learned in the painkiller article method. If you've taken my painkiller article method module in certification level 1 and 2, then you're already way ahead. You already know where this is going. Okay. Andy is saying he's enjoyed what he's seen so far, and he's excited about the ideas of having more information. He's also asking me about that big giant YouTube thumbnail. Let me see if I can find an example of that. He's actually talking about this. Can you guys see that? That is actually my video. So I would like you guys to come up with what you think that is. Okay? I would like you guys to come up with your best guess as to what that is. Okay? You can see that this is, I was talking to Jimmy about it in terms of, because there's other cool things with something like that. And feel free to use all the tools, okay? I want to actually use this as a teaching tool for you guys to think about back engineering. Doing things like Jimmy and Sue do, like follow things backwards from the entire process, okay? You can see that, dang, it is a page authority of 53. That's pretty damn big for a YouTube video, right? So I can put that link wherever I want because it's our site. You can see that, look at everything, okay? Just go through the process of analyzing some of the signals. Andy, you too. Andy is saying enough social signals and engagement, especially on-site viewing and sharing. That's a good idea. So one of your ongoing homework assignments is, this is a great thing for you guys to do. It's not really related to your PinVid, but it is good extra credit. Okay? Look and see give me an opinion of what you think it is that gets that type of thing on the search engine with that major thing here. Okay? And I promise over the next few weeks we will talk about it. All right? Give me a 1 if that's an interesting topic for you, and 2 if you don't really give a crap about that big giant video. It's completely unrelated to PinVids in every possible way, but it's interesting. Brian is saying that he does not have that. Everybody type in Inception Time Live and see if they see it. Oh, it disappeared. Anybody else not have that there? Mike does not have it in Australia. Anybody else not have that? Scott doesn't have it? Okay. That's very interesting. Okay, so then find one that you can see. Carol, interesting. Carol saying I didn't have it initially, but then resized and it popped up. Okay. So that's interesting. I will tell you guys that in-house, we are not 100% sure why this occurs. Okay? We are not 100% sure, and we are still analyzing it. That's why I want you guys to look at it as well. Give me your opinion. Okay? That's not the answer you were looking for, is it, Andy? Yes, Brian is saying I see semantic markup. One thing I will say is I have not yet given this to Kevin Pauly to look at. So probably we will have some idea from him as well. Kevin's like, no, not another thing. Yeah, I'm not asking you right now, Kevin. It's just more of a novelty. All right, you guys. I will be waiting for your PinVid sites. I want to see what you've done. You can send those to me privately. And I want to see your nice themes. I will check your markup. And I want to see your integration on the front of the sites. I want to, they should look nice. And I'll be expecting to see those over the next 7 to 10 days. We will have another webinar on next Wednesday where I'll present another interesting thing for you. And by that time, I will determine how long these webinars are going to go on. We will have recurring quarterly webinars at the very least. But I want to make sure that I keep the ball rolling and that you guys feel like Kevin or myself. Yeah, Steve is saying that his also comes up only after a refresh. So he does a refresh and the video goes from small to large. So you guys who aren't seeing it, do a refresh to see if it comes up for you. Good. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end this today. We have many exciting things happening. We are literally on the razor's edge of getting these new the new video silo plugin and other plugins released to the public. So we've got all this stuff going on here in the lab today. All kinds of very, very cool stuff. I appreciate you guys spending time with me today, and I will see you next week. Same bat cave, same bat time to discuss a new tip or trick. I will try to see if I can get Kevin here. It's also a good time during these early phases to just see how everything's going with your hosting. Any questions you might have, any uncertainties. I can actually, next week I will probably pull some of you on via audio to save time so we can just talk about what's happening. Okay? In the meantime, I'm going to be spending time with Jimmy Kelley and Sue right here in person today, which is a rare privilege. We'll be going over things and look forward to talking to you guys soon. Okay, I will post this webinar up in the automatic PinVid traffic area. Oh, you guys know that week 2 is already posted? And I'm still adding modules towards the end of that whole area. Okay, so you will see more and more modules begin to fill this area. I want to make sure that everybody was aware of the update. It's kind of an important update. Marketing. The marketing CTA cosmetic and video plugins. There's actually an hour and a half. Have you guys seen that? There's an hour and a half of my ne'er before discussed ghetto banner rapid prototyping process. Okay, it's down here. You might miss it if you weren't looking for it. It's kind of buried. It's bonus module fast ghetto banner creation. It's a pretty hefty course where I reveal all the tools I use to create rapid prototyping. Again, it does presume the knowledge that you have taken our pre-certification courses and you already know how to position your one-line singer and your banners, okay? But I give you some pretty decent notes, and that shows you how to set that up, okay? All right, good. All right, with no further ado, I look forward to seeing you next week. This is Russell Wright, Network Empire, and Level 3 certification. I really do hope that you guys start getting signed up for the live certification event. And Carol's thinking about coming. I know a few other of you are thinking about coming. We have a lot of huge things at this event that we've never covered before. If you're not able to make it to that, we look forward to seeing you in the other courses. Do feel free to visit swallowyourmarketwhole.com, sign up. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you at the live certification event. Ciao.